Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Martin here from Kodiak. Your favorite Chad from Poland is back. What's going on, guys? So today, I'm gonna make a very controversial statement here. Why you should never be friends with men who aren't capable of attracting women into their life. And in my opinion, there are 3 reasons why that is. And I'm speaking from experience on this one. And I know a lot of people are gonna get butthurt from hearing this message. Some of y'all ain't gonna like it. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here, but bro, like, I really want the best for you guys. And especially once you level up in life as a man, it is so important that you become a lot more strategic and conscious with who you let in inside your circle. And so, we're gonna talk about it here. So, first of all, the first reason why, when you're accommodating with men who aren't capable of attracting women, it's usually going to lower your value. And it speaks a lot more about them than it does with the women. In the sense that if you have men, like especially if you have a whole bunch of normies around you who are always bitching about women, they're telling you that women are the problem. Realize this. It's not the women that are the problem. Sure, there are a lot of bad, trashy women out there who are extremely entitled and they just want to string guys along. Yeah, they do exist. But at the same time, if you're dealing with men who are never really able to have any kind of attraction from women and they're not capable of, getting dates and stuff like that, then they're low value, essentially. Because if you want to attract women into your life, it's not just about your looks. It's not just about your physical status, your look, your appearance. It's way deeper than that, okay? So that tells you a lot about who they are as a man. And bro, I'm speaking on behalf for a lot of men right now. Most men today, they're bums. I'm just gonna put it like that. Most guys today, they're low value. They're addicted to drugs, alcohol, smoking. They're scrolling through social media all day. They're lazy. They're lethargic, bro. They have no confidence. They're not putting in any effort, bro. And they're simply not worth the effort. And it's a real thing. And it's very contagious. It's like poison, bro. Once you get sucked into that environment, man, it's almost like, at this point, it's basically impossible to escape this kind of life. Because they will suck you in, bro. They will suck you into their drama, their gossiping, their low-level life, their negativity, their lack of action, bro. Because most of these guys, bro, the reason why they're struggling with women is because they're not consistent. They're not working on themselves, Because if you want to be a capable man in the modern world, you have to be successful on so many different levels. And you have to be conscious of it. You have to be working for it. And most guys are not it. Most guys want to say, that it's their parents' fault. Most men have the victim mindset today. And they will just drag you down. Which actually leads me to my next point. When you're with these men and you're let's say you're an attractive guy and you have some kind of status, or at least you're working to become better. There's a really high probability that if you bring up the topic of girls around them, they're gonna straight up sabotage your progress. They're gonna tell you, oh, he's not good enough for us now. He's a lady boy now. He's a ladies' man. He's Casanova. He's this and that. He thinks he's the new Brad Pitt. They're gonna throw these little comments your way, and it can make you a little bit it's just vain, bro. Like, it can definitely make you question your sanity, and you're gonna be like, hey, how come these guys are hating on me? How come I'm not receiving any support in my life? Because for a lot of guys, bro, especially if you're a young guy like me, you want to date women. You want to be out there. You want to be on the market, and you want to try things out. But a lot of these guys, bro, especially if they have no experience with women whatsoever, bro, they're just gonna tear you down. They're gonna tear you apart. I'm serious, bro. That's the bottom line. I swear to God. I've been around so many lames I've been around so many lames nowadays who are, talking to me about, that women are this and that all women are the problem, bro. That's such a loser mindset. And a lot of these guys, they're defeatist, meaning They don't want to have any kind of accountability. They have no responsibility, especially if their girl cheated on them, or if they just lost a girl, or if they got dumped. Bro, I'm telling you, they're usually going to be they're going to be like resentful little bitches. They're going to blame the world for all their problems. And in a way, that's contagious. You're going to be infected by that mindset right off the bat. Because we as humans, we're social beings. You know, we have to, like, we used to live in packs. We're social animals. And so we think like one another. And so by default, man, this is a real thing. You have to avoid these men at all costs. Because it's contagious, and they're gonna bring you down, bro. It's like the crabs in the bucket mentality. You're not gonna get you're not gonna get a run for your money. You have to run for your life, bro. These guys are like little pests. Now, I just want to throw a little caveat here. I'm not talking about men who are single and who are, not dating women by choice. That's a whole different ball game. Because I used to be that, especially, a couple months ago. I was living monk mode for a really long time. I refused to date women for quite a while. And that was a conscious choice. It was a conscious decision. It was not something, because I was always attracting women, bro. Like even, I could see that, I could spot, women that were giving me all kinds of choosing signals every day, left and right. But this is a whole different ballgame. Do not conflict the two. It's a whole different thing. I'm talking about these guys who have no money, they're broke, they're depressed, they're fat, they're eating sugar all day, they're eating junk food, bro, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're dope fiends. You want to avoid these guys because they will jeopardize your progress. But, they're usually, bro, like, especially if you talk to them about your dating life and how you're pulling women, they're gonna be jealous, man. They're gonna subtly hate on you. I've experienced this many, many times. They'll give you these little snarky comments from time to time, and they will give you that little look of jealousy. And you know exactly what I'm talking about here. It's very subtle, but they're going to give you that. And you can kind of see, and then you can kind of see it in their body language. They're kind of tensed up. They're not really, acknowledging it. They're not going to compliment it one bit. They're just going to be like, he gets girls because he's handsome or this and that. They're not going to give you the credit for it. Especially if you're a guy like me, you've been working your ass off for many years and you deserve to have women in your life now. Bro, really, forget about these guys. Elevate your circle. And actually, thirdly, and this is going to be my last point. If you're surrounded by a whole bunch of lames and a whole bunch of little butthurt men, you're going to be just like them. And that actually lowers your value as a man because women pick up on these things. Women are always going to look at your friend circle. This is why, really attractive men usually accommodate with other attractive men. Men who have a whole bunch of money, men who drive Ferraris, men who pull up in amazing whips like Koenigseggs and Paganis and Ferraris, Rolls Royces, man. Like these sick ass cars, all these baller cars. They're usually only hanging around other men who have the same type of lifestyle. This is natural. This is primal, man. And likewise, this is why most of these guys who are drug addicts, they're, dope fiends, they're, little alcoholics, and they're, little, weak, then they're weak men. There's a reason why they're only, really surrounded by weak men. Because you attract who you are as a man. And so that instantly lowers your value as a man. And bro, if you have a really hot woman, if you have a really nice girl, and she can see that you have a whole bunch of lames around you, if you have a whole bunch of, punks who don't work their ass off, bro, eventually you're going to be just like them. Just picture yourself. Because I've been in these situations, man, especially my last job, because I actually quit my job, bro. I want to go all in with this YouTube thing. And I had this little thought at some point, because I was, because you know how it is when you're working with people. Occasionally you want to hang out with them. They usually, invite you to places and shit like that. And I was like, okay, because I've been around, I've been in, on some of these gatherings, and I was like, hey, I don't belong there, man. This is not my thing. I'm not I'm not smoking, I'm not drinking, I'm not a dope fiend, I don't have to drink all day, I'm not addicted to a whole bunch of some vices, man. That's not me. That's not a part of my identity. And yes, I'm not saying you should be so militant like me, because like I live this life by choice. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs, man. I'm free. I'm very clean. Because I know that these things are going to influence my mind in the wrong way. I'm going to be intoxicated. I'm going to have all these, things that are going to go, like, I'm going to, impact my chemicals, and, it's going to alter the function of my brain. I don't want that. I don't want to be a part of that. Because it's going to ostracize you. Now, but that's a whole different concept. But that's a whole different thing. But going back to my initial point, you're going to lower your value when you're surrounded by weak men, by all these beta male who don't get women, who are, all these men who are white knighting for women, men who are simping, and men who are watching porn. Bro, that's a red flag. Like, I don't watch porn. Like, to me, that's disgusting. Like, occasionally, man, like, I'm gonna rub one off every now and then, but I don't watch porn, because I know that this shit is toxic for your brain. It makes you pedestalize women. You're essentially labeling yourself in that little box. It's almost like you're subconsciously lowering your value in a way. You're in that category of men who can't get pussy, and you don't want to be like one of them. You don't want to be a square, bro. So, because their actions speak louder than words. And so the bottom line is, you have to be very selective with who you let in your circle. And it's not an easy job. I'm telling you, bro, I've been struggling with this problem for a really, really long time. Because, I'm somewhat attractive. I'm working on myself all the time. I'm very militant about my life, so I'm very diligent, and I'm trying my best all the time with my content. I'm consistent here. And I've been a little bit, I've been slacking off a little bit because I was distracted, bro. And I had to really, rethink of where I'm going with this. So I have to, really, get back on track with this. But the thing is, you don't want to hang around these people, man. Because, you're going to slow down your progress as a man or as a person in general. And the same thing goes for women. If you're a beautiful, nice lady and you're watching this, if you're surrounded by a whole bunch of Karens and a whole bunch of women who are single mothers and women who are telling you that all men are toxic and that men are the problem, drop them. Erase them from your, inbox and your contact list. You don't need them. Especially if you're really close to them, bro. Because you are literally the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So that's the thing. Stop cutting corners. Stop, short-circuiting your life, bro. You're better than that. You want it to be hard. So, work for your life. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. There's actually a little squirrel behind me. She was eating this little nut, bro. But that's the thing. Be very conscious of these things. So, just to wrap it up, boys, be very diligent with this. Really be selective with who you're associating with on a day-to-day basis. Because women pick up on these things. And it's a hard life. It's especially if the more successful you are as a man, and the more layers you have, you're stacking up all these boxes. It is not an easy thing. But I definitely think the more you try, the better off you'll be. I think I have 1 or 2 friends that are kind of on my level, and I'm so glad that I have these people, because I'm sane now. Otherwise, bro, a lot of men will shame you, a lot of men will criticize you all day. They're gonna tell you that you're this and that. They're gonna ridicule you, man, and you don't want that. You don't want to be ridiculed. So find better friends, bro. Drop your loser friends. Drop your loser friends that are simping for women. Be friends with men who are going after something. Because, attracting women, bro, I just want to leave you with this little gold nugget here. Attracting women is, being attractive to women is usually a byproduct of being a top man, or at least working to be on your top game. Because women pick up on these things. Women value ambition and hard work, in men. Really. They pick up on these small little nitty-gritty things all the time. So that's the thing. So I'm just going to wrap it up here, guys. I hope you really like this video, because I'm speaking from experience on this one. You have to drop your loser friends. If there's one thing that's holding you back more than anything, it's got to be down to your friends. That's what it comes down to. So, it was hot, man. You know, we're in the building like always. And yeah, I'm just chilling now. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And by the way, please, I know I'll keep on saying this thing over and over again. Check out my Instagram account if you want to connect with me. And that's it. Peace, boys. Stay strong. Woo!